are millions of cakes made in a factory? Before we dive into how cakes are made, let's look at safety and prep. Every worker starts their day by putting on a full set of protective gear: clean uniforms, hairnets, and sanitized gloves. They go through a hand washing station and use sanitizer before entering the production area. No shortcuts allowed here. The factory maintains strict cleanliness standards. Industrial-grade cleaning solutions keep floors and surfaces spotless. Air filtration systems run 24/7 to keep the air clean and prevent any contamination. Equipment sterilization happens in 3 stages. First, machines get cleaned with high-pressure hot water. Then they're treated with food-grade sanitizers. Finally, steam cleaning hits any spots that might have been missed. This happens between every production run. The factory stores flour and sugar in massive temperature-controlled silos. Eggs and dairy products stay in industrial refrigeration units set to exact temperatures. Everything gets monitored constantly. If anything's not at the right temperature, alarms go off. The measuring system is fully automated. Digital scales weigh each ingredient precisely. The machines pull from the storage silos through sanitized pipes, measuring everything according to the recipe. No room for error here. Computers double-check every measurement. The mixing process uses industrial-sized mixers. Each mixer can handle hundreds of pounds of batter at once. The machines control mixing speed and time precisely, creating perfectly smooth batter every time. Different paddles handle different mixing stages. First, dry ingredients, then wet ingredients get mixed in gradually. Quality control happens at 6 checkpoints during the stage. They test the batter's temperature, consistency, and pH levels. Samples go to the lab for testing, checking everything from moisture content to ingredient distribution. If anything's off, the whole batch gets flagged for inspection. The factory's industrial ovens are massive, stretching 50 feet long with multiple baking zones. Each oven can bake hundreds of cakes at once. The ovens use both top and bottom heating elements, plus fans that circulate hot air evenly through the chambers. Temperature control is crucial. Each zone in the oven has its own computer-controlled thermostat. Sensors monitor the temperature every few seconds, automatically adjusting the heat to stay within 1 degree of the target. This precision ensures every cake bakes evenly, no matter where it is in the oven. The conveyor system moves cake pans through the ovens at exactly the right speed. Different products have different baking times, so the belt speed adjusts automatically based on what's being baked. Metal dividers keep pans properly spaced as they move through. After baking, cakes enter cooling tunnels. These tunnels use temperature-controlled airflow to bring cakes down to room temperature gradually. This controlled cooling prevents any cracking or shrinking. The process takes about 45 minutes from start to finish. Once cooled, it's time for layering. The slicing machines use thin, high-speed blades that vibrate as they cut. These blades move horizontally through each cake, creating perfectly even layers. Each machine can slice hundreds of cakes per hour. The layer separation is pretty clever. After cutting, each layer moves onto its own conveyor belt automatically. Small air jets help separate the layers without damaging them. Guide rails keep everything aligned during the transfer. Quality checks happen constantly during layering. Sensors measure the thickness of each layer to ensure consistency. Cameras scan for any imperfections or uneven cuts. If a cake doesn't meet standards, robotic arms remove it from the line for inspection. Only cakes with perfect layers move on to frosting. The frosting production starts with industrial mixers that can handle up to 500 pounds of frosting at once. They blend butter, powdered sugar, and flavorings at controlled speeds. The mixing process happens in stages to ensure the frosting is perfectly smooth without air bubbles. The factory makes several types of frosting daily. There's classic vanilla buttercream, chocolate, cream cheese, and specialty flavors like caramel or mocha. Each type requires different mixing times and ingredient ratios. Some frostings need special handling. Cream cheese frosting has to stay colder, while chocolate needs careful tempering. Temperature control is key for good frosting. The mixing room stays at exactly 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Each batch of frosting gets tested for temperature and consistency. If it's too warm, it won't hold its shape. Too cold, and it won't spread properly. Sensors monitor the temperature throughout the process. The frosting moves through pipelines to storage tanks. Each tank has its own cooling system and mixing paddles to maintain the right consistency. The tanks connect directly to the decorating stations, keeping the frosting fresh and ready to use. For assembly, robotic arms stack the cake layers precisely. Each layer passes under frosting applicators that spread an even layer of filling. Sensors measure the amount of frosting to ensure consistency between layers. The outer frosting happens on rotating platforms. Automated spatulas apply the base coat, then smoothing blades create an even finish. For textured finishes, different attachments create patterns like ribbons, swirls, or rustic looks. The decorating machines handle various designs. Some pipe borders and basic patterns. Others use edible ink printers for custom images. The most advanced machines can even create 3D decorations using special frosting formulas. For custom orders, the machines follow digital design files. They can pipe names, messages, or specific patterns. After decoration, automated cutting machines portion the cakes. These machines use ultrasonic blades that cut cleanly through frosting and cake without smashing or dragging. For round cakes, rotating blade systems cut perfect wedges. For sheet cakes, grid pattern cutters portion everything at once. Quality inspectors check each batch of cut cakes. They're looking for clean cuts, correct portion sizes, and proper presentation. Digital scales verify that each piece meets weight specifications. Cameras scan for any crumbs or messy edges that would affect presentation. The packaging process starts with automated boxing systems. Robotic arms lift cake portions and place them in protective containers. For layered cakes, plastic supports keep them stable during transport. Storage conditions are carefully controlled until shipping. The storage room stays at 38 degrees Fahrenheit with 40% humidity. Cold enough to keep the cakes fresh, but not so cold that the frosting gets too hard. Cakes sit on racks that let cold air circulate evenly. Most cakes ship out within 24 hours of production. Computer systems track how long each batch has been in storage and make sure nothing stays too long.